It is time to expand minds through movies, TV, sports, and flicks. It is time to boldly go where no podcast has gone before. It is time for the Captain Talks Flicks.
The Captain Talk Flicks.
Welcome to the Captain Talks Flicks podcast. I'm your host, the Captain Cortez, aka Mr. Love, and this is where we talk flicks. I welcome the podcast where me, the Captain, talks about movies, TV, sports, flicks, anything you can see on the two-board screen. I like to get on here and give my unique perspective, because after 47 years of being on planet Earth, I have developed a new perspective about these movies, TV, sports, and flicks, and I like to get on and tell about it. Because just maybe you care. And according to the stats, it looks like you do care. I want to give a big shout out to Burundi. Got some plays over in Burundi this past week. Gracias, gratitude, Dodoraba, and Burundi. I had some coffee from your country. And let me just tell you this. The coffee I had from your country was absolutely magnificent. It was so good. I loved it. Very good. So Burundi, you guys have excellent coffee. Thanks for listening to the podcast. And just FYI, back in the day I went to school to be a radio DJ, but never got a job. I think I never got a job because I just didn't have the awareness. If I would have just had a little bit more awareness, maybe that would enable me to become a radio DJ. But I didn't. And it allowed me to become the greatest podcaster in the Matrix. Some to debate, might be true, might not be true, but I said it on the internet. So it's gotta be true, right? Because everything on the internet is facts, not facts, true, false, propaganda, fake news, the Matrix, rain, snow, hail, heat. I don't know. I didn't make the internet. Ask the people that made the internet. So when you're lying, just be aware, just watch out. Anyways, I could ramble all day, but I won't. Let's get right into the podcast. But first, a word from our sponsor. Ladies and gentlemen, do you know what I really liked back in the 90s? Back in the 90s, I was a young man, 90 to 99. I really loved 90s hip-hop. Well, if you like 90s hip-hop, like I like 90s hip-hop, recording artist SonZu Cosmic, the lover of hot fries who spits cosmic raps, dropped the track called 90s hip-hop. So if you want to hear SonZu Cosmic rap cosmically about 90s hip-hop, I'll put a link below to the track 90s hip-hop by SonZu Cosmic. Check it out. Now, let's get on with the podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, I am back again. It's been a wonderful week. I work very hard. I work hard every week, but I work very hard this week. I also got to play a little bit. Went out to my local restaurant, hung out with a few folks, had some shrimp, had some interesting conversations, drank some lemonade. So I was sitting at the bar with some friends, chilling, relaxing, and then some of them are having some drinks, like alcoholic drinks. But you know the captain's very square, and the captain don't drink. So I was like, bartender, can I get a lemonade? This bartender be like, bro, you sitting at a bar and you just drinking lemonade? Get out of here. You must have been thinking that. And then a buddy of mine, he's sitting there drinking too, and he had like a water. So my buddy having a water, I'm having a lemonade. My other buddy's having this big old like margaritas with alcohol in them, and I'm just sitting there sipping lemonade. But if you know me, you know the captain's favorite drink is lemonade. So what's wrong? Sitting at the bar having lemonade? Doesn't matter, bro. You can drink whatever you want. It's free crunchy. But it's finding it interesting. I'm sitting at the bar drinking lemonade. But that's how the captain rolls in 2023. The captain just says no to alcohol, and I just drink lemonade. So anyways, it's been a beautiful, lovely week. Worked hard, played a little bit, and now it is time to podcast. And this week, ladies and gentlemen, we got a double dose of my most favorite franchise in the universe. And if you've been here before, you know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the one and only Star Trek. And this week, we got a double dose of Star Trek Strange New Worlds. Yes, we did. And I'm about to talk about both those episodes. Before I get into that, a couple things. First of all, there will be spoilers. And second of all, I do own some shares in the parent company of Star Trek. I just want to be clear and transparent to let you know. Now that I told you that, let's get into Star Trek Strange New Worlds, Lost in Translation, and Those Old Scientists. So ladies and gentlemen, both these episodes were absolutely fantastic. Very fantastic. In the first episode, Lost in Translation, the crew of the Enterprise are going to this machine that's like in this nebula, and they're getting energy from the nebula with this machine. In the process of doing that, they encounter aliens. And this episode's a very Uhura-centric episode. So Uhura experiences some ailments, and she thinks she's sick, but it's actually aliens trying to communicate with her. They figure that out later in the episode, where she thought she was sick or she was hallucinating, which she kind of was. But it's this aliens' way of communicating with Uhura, because they don't communicate in conventional ways. Now, this episode is magnificent. I highly recommend you watch it. But what I want to do is what I always do. So I'm going to get into a couple of details about the episode. And this episode, what I want to talk about is communication. Uhura is the communications officer. And the communications officer was getting communicated to by these aliens in the nebula, right? Because they were being hurt, and they're trying to communicate to Uhura in their own way to let Uhura know that they are being hurt. So Uhura has to figure this out. But what I want to get into is, like, in the episode, the aliens were having difficulty communicating with the Enterprise crew. And they communicated in a fashion that they only knew how to communicate. And Uhura took that as a negative experience, or she didn't quite understand, or she was overwhelmed. She was triggered, maybe you want to say. Now, if we look at this in the real world, because I always do Star Trek, I can see real world things in this. Like, in every day, walking around planet Earth, we are constantly communicating. Being a human being, walking around Earth, communication is a big part of living on planet Earth and living your life, right? We walk around, we talk to different people in the language that we were raised on. I'm in the United States of America. I speak English. A lot of us here speak English. They speak other languages, but the main language in America is English, and we all talk to each other in English. Now, we may all talk English, but we talk different ways of English. So even though I talk English and talk to someone else in English, there may still be some misunderstandings depending on the way we use English, the words, our ideas, our beliefs. There may be slight differences. And I feel there's a lot of conflict currently in the United States of America due to the fact that people are just not understanding each other fully. They're just fully not being heard or understood, right? And in this episode, we see that. In this episode, we see the aliens try to communicate with Uhura, and Uhura's not really understanding at first. But after a little while, she figures it out because the aliens are communicating in a way she's not used to or aware of. Now in 2023, a lot of us are in our own echo chambers, and we hear a lot of the same chatter and talk and ideas. And we know what those mean. We understand those. But when we hear other sides, beliefs, ideas, we can't fully comprehend them. And sometimes we get triggered or angered or mad, right? It's just like in the episode. We hear these communications, we're triggered, we're scared, we're afraid, we're mad, because we're not quite understanding them because they speak slightly in a different way. The lesson we can learn from Star Trek in this episode, Lost in Translation, is to try to improve the way we hear other people. And another thing too, if you don't quite understand what you're saying, let's ask more questions to gain more clarity. Let's try not to get mad and react and frustrated and triggered. Let's just try to inquire more. Can you please explain it a little bit more? I don't quite understand what you're saying. I feel a lot of the conflicts is just not understanding each other. And maybe if we took time to hear each other out and try to understand each other a little bit more and be like Uhura, the communications officer, and just try to understand the language a little bit better, and we understand ourselves a little bit better, life will be a lot better. I love Uhura. So cool. I like that they're going deeper with Uhura because she's such an interesting character. And her being a communications officer, I'm really into communications. I'm really into languages. Right? I'm studying languages. I love words. I love ideas. I love thought. I love ideologies. And Uhura is like that's what Uhura is about. And so seeing Uhura communicate with the alien, where there was different communication styles, and Uhura finally figuring out and understanding what the alien was communicating. We can learn from that, right? Let's take the time to try to hear each other out, try to learn and understand a little bit more. Let's not get mad. Let's not get frightened. Let's not get scared. Let's just try to get more clarity and understand each other. I feel a lot of the conflict, like I said, is just from a lack of understanding and clarity. So let's work on that however we can to try to improve understanding and clarity and whatever methods and means or ways we got to do. So that was a lesson I got from Star Trek Lost in Translation. A fine episode. Great. I love they're going deeper into Uhura. A great episode. Loved it. Fantastic. Now I'm going to switch gears and I'm going to get into Star Trek Strange New Worlds, Those Old Scientists. So in Those Old Scientists, it was the crossover we all needed, the crossover we all wanted. They crossed over two shows that I thought would be absolutely impossible to cross over, but they did it, and it was done so well. It was a great, fantastic crossover. It is probably one of the best crossovers Star Trek has ever done. It was that good. They crossed over Star Trek Lower Decks and Star Trek Strange New Worlds. Just when you thought they couldn't do it, they did it, and it was magnificent. We got to see Boimler and Mariner on the Starship Enterprise with Pike and crew. It was absolutely magnificent. They came to the future, the 24th century, back to Pike's time, and interacted with all the Star Trek Strange New Worlds. And it was fun, it was exciting, it was entertaining. It was just great to see Mariner and Boimler in the flesh with Pike and crew, being themselves. It was interesting to see how they would interact with that crew. It was great. It was funny. It was very funny. I understand why people are loving it. It's a very fun, enjoyable show. Great sci-fi. So anyways, we got to see Boimler and Mariner on the Enterprise, and they had to try to get back home, and that is what this episode's about. But what I want to do is I'm going to pull on the thread from this episode as well, and this one has also got to do with Uhura, because in the episode, Mariner finally gets to meet her hero, Uhura, right? Uhura is a legend in Star Trek, a legend in Starfleet. She's legendary, and Mariner read about her in history books. She heard about her. She heard about her great feats and all the great things she did. And finally, Mariner gets to meet her hero. She meets her hero. She meets Uhura. And before she meets Uhura, she's like, Uhura's probably always enjoying life, having a great time. And she finds out Uhura's actually a workaholic. She's a workaholic. She's working her butt off. She barely takes breaks. She barely takes time off. She's always working. And as soon as I seen that, I was like, I know that. I said, I know that lifestyle. I'm Uhura. I'm thinking like, I'm just like you, Uhura, because I'm working my butt off constantly. I rarely take breaks. And in the show, Mariner had to like twist Uhura's arm to get her to go to the bar. She even quoted regulations to her, just take a break, rest. It was like, nah, I can't rest. We gotta get things done. Mariner's like, the problems will still be there when we come back. Take a break. And dude, seen on the screen, I know that. I know that so well. I know that so well. I'm working my butt off. There's problems I gotta solve. There's podcasts I gotta get done. There's albums I gotta get recorded. And I'm sure you guys out there that work really hard, trying to have that David Goggins mentality, know what I'm talking about, right? You're just working, right? That's fine. But in the episode, Mariner's like, take a break. And I seen that, I'm like, yeah, I so understand it. Mariner's this young, playful, fun person that's telling Uhura, take a break, relax. And this week, it so happens, I took a break. Kind of like Uhura. It's funny how that works out. I'm such a hardcore, go hard work. And then a couple of buddies of mine like, hey, you should come out, relax, have a good time, relax and chill. But me think I gotta work, I got things to do. I kind of didn't want to do it, sort of. But I just said, no, I'll do it. I took a break. And these people around, a lot of them are very young, fun, enjoying life, got an attitude. Kind of like Mariner. My own personal Mariner in real life. And I went out there and enjoyed myself a little bit. Even though I'm a workaholic, I took a break. And I'll be honest, I enjoyed it. It was fun. It was relaxing. It was nice to get out, relax, have a little bit of fun. Just like Uhura in Star Trek. Mariner had twisted her arm and she enjoyed it. She had a drink, chilled over a couple homies, and relaxed and enjoyed it. It took Mariner's fun-loving spirit to help her take a break. So now Uhura is enjoying life a little bit more. And I'm sure she will continue to do that. But I so could identify with Uhura with that work mentality. Because that's what I'm doing. I'm constantly working as well. And like I said, a lot of you guys probably know what I'm talking about. We want to get things accomplished. We want to be successful. We want to get ahead. We want to grow our abundance. We want to grow our life. And it does take work to get there. Uhura understands it. I understand it. You got to work if you want to get things accomplished, right? But also, you need to take a break. Take a lesson from Uhura and Mariner. Take a break, relax, indulge slightly. Now, don't stop working, of course, work. But you got to take moments of time to just relax and enjoy life, right? That's the lesson I got from Those Old Scientists, right? Seeing that, I so understood that. So I've been taking breaks. But I'm making a point to work hard and we just slow it down a little bit. Now, this podcast is about expanded minds, expanding the human experience. Just exploring the infinite possibilities of being a human being. And so we can work our butt off. I'm all about working, hustle, grind, get things accomplished. But let us take time to just relax, enjoy ourselves. Enjoy a nice drink, enjoy some friends, enjoy going out. Now, don't overindulge, but just enjoy a bit. Still work and enjoy the bit. That's the lesson I got from this episode. And to be honest with you, I didn't think that Mariner's crazy, wild self would be teaching Uhura and the captain lessons. But this is life, man. You're going to get lessons in unexpected areas from unexpected people. I've been around my own personal Mariner in real life the last few months, periodically. But in fact, this person reminds me a lot like Mariner in how she acts and how she moves and how she behaves. I was around my own personal Mariner, and I learned a lot of lessons from her. It's like Uhura learned from Mariner. It's beautiful. This old man is learning to just unwind and relax a little bit, channel my younger self. So ladies and gentlemen, don't become an old stick about like the captain working all day. Take time to enjoy, indulge, and relax just a bit. And this is the lesson I got from those old scientists. And these 2 episodes in 1 week were absolutely fantastic Star Trek, absolutely magnificent. Like I say every week, because every episode has been absolutely magnificent. This show, Strange New Worlds, is fantastic. So if you have not seen Star Trek Strange New Worlds, I highly recommend you go out there, watch it any way you can, figure a way out. I don't know where you live. Get whatever you need to get to make it happen. Check it out. You will not be disappointed. So, ladies and gentlemen, Star Trek is back. Star Trek is fantastic. Star Trek Strange New Worlds is great. A bunch of other new Star Treks coming out. Star Trek Discovery is coming out next year. Star Trek Lower Decks is coming out later in the year. There's these Star Trek short animations coming out. All types of Star Trek is coming out. It's a great time to be a Star Trek fan. So, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for listening. Appreciate God's gratitude. And until next time, we'll see. I dwell in possibility. Emily Dickinson. Until next time, it's Captain P.
The Captain Talks Flicks.